I got a notification. Good evening, everyone. We're going to introduce ourselves again for those of you who weren't present at the presidential debate. So my name is Nikita, and I'm the Elections Committee Chair for smusa.
And my name is Darshit. I'm the Chief Accounting Officer for this year's elections.
Thank you for everyone to coming out tonight, and as well as our viewers on the live stream. And I'm glad to see everyone's faces in person for the first time in a few years for smusa's Board of Directors Forum of 2023-2024. Before we begin, I would also like to acknowledge that St. Mary's University is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq Nation. This territory is covered by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship. And I'm sure everyone is very excited to be here today and to listen to all of your board candidates, which is a lot of them, so we're going to be here forever. But before that, we have a remarkable guest speaker amongst us today. And on behalf of everyone of smusa and everyone present, it is my sincere pleasure to introduce Brian Rice. Just as a little introduction, Brian Rice is actually one of our own. He graduated from SMU in 2016 with a Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship and a minor in Political Science. During his time at SMU, he was an RA. He served on the Board of Directors of smusa, and he was also a board chair and chief governance officer. Also in time of need, he also stepped in to take additional responsibility as acting president for smusa. Brian is an avid Nova Scotia business person with an interest in real estate, construction, and construction materials manufacturing. He is also the owner and president of two successful companies, one of them being Terra Nova Fine Art Incorporated, an art brokerage serving both galleries and collectors, and the other being Terra Nova Construction, a Nova Scotian company engaged in construction and equipment. Additionally, he is also the general manager of VJ Rice Concrete Limited, a family-owned planning and construction company that's been active for almost 60 years. At St. Mary's, he also received the Platinum M Award, the highest ever award granted by smusa. This award is granted to an individual who has provided outstanding contributions to the students at St. Mary's University. In 2017, he became one of the 3 individuals who have received this award since smusa was incorporated in 1966. So now, without further ado, I will now give the floor to Brian.
Thank you. That was very kind, and that sounds a lot like my LinkedIn. So I'm glad people a little younger than me are getting on the LinkedIn train. So, yeah, I don't feel like such an old guy anymore. Look, it's nice to be back. smusa, I think, is a super organization for starters. If you're here, I think you probably already know that. But smusa was really the center of my university experience, and I really came to appreciate the organization, and looking back to appreciate, the various ways that it's had a great influence and effect on my life. When I was asked to come and speak to you, there were 3 things that Alex kindly asked me to address. The first being leadership, the second, what it means to be a board member, and the third, how did getting involved in student government and governance help me during my time at SMU, and also afterwards as I get into my career. So generally, I would have prepared remarks for you, but first I think we'll start on the student leadership piece, and I'll explain to you why I don't have prepared remarks and why it highlights the importance of student leadership. Because I know there are people here who are obviously interested in serving on the board, but that doesn't preclude everybody else that's here from still being student leaders. So I am now, and I expect a large boo from everybody, I'm currently enrolled at Dalhousie University up the street that way. So yeah, I know. Now, that's because the St. Mary's Law School has yet to be established. So I think maybe talk to your administrators about that, and I'd be happy to come back. But as you go through student government, you go through your university career, you'll find there are various issues that take place along the way. And you never necessarily know what the issues are, when they're going to arise. But what you can learn through being a student leader is how you react and how you adjust your schedule, how you adjust the way you conduct yourself, what values you bring as a leader and as a person that you're going to have in our community. So this morning I was part of, as everybody was at Dell, we're part of a large walkout, which you will now see on the news if you go and look it up after this evening. And because we were dealing with this morning an incident of racism at Dalhousie, okay? It has no place in post-secondary education, no place in our institutions, all right? We've had an issue there, and I'll speak about it now because it is in the news, where an incident where racialized students were discriminated against directly by a student in the class, all right? This started as far back as October last year and has continued and culminated in the events today. But when I look at how the university community is now reacting, it's because student leaders have come to the table and demanded change. I don't need to get into all the details. You can find that online now. But what you will find is that is why the student voice is absolutely so important to this process. Without student leaders that can step up and say, these are the values of who we are, these are the people that we're going to be as we go into our careers, and this is what we're going to say to our community. Okay, that starts with you guys now. And it's incumbent, particularly on student leaders, to be that change and be the charge that does that. The equivalent that we've been dealing with at Dalhousie is something called the Law Student Society, which isn't that dissimilar to SMUSA, very similar to kind of some of the societies that you would have under your umbrella, but very much the representative body of the law students. So, like I say, you'll see more about it, but it's important that you espouse the values you want, and that starts as student leaders. So when I start to think about what are we going to do with a board of SMUSA, and what is the role of the board, and what is the board supposed to do, I first feel compelled to tell you there's a difference between governance and good governance. Okay, good governance is not about the individuals that make up the board of SMUSA. Good governance actually really isn't about the individual at all. It's about what is our purpose and what is our organization going to do. Good governance, if done right, almost never should be the thing that's forward facing. It should be the quiet things that are going on in the background that are the responsible, monotonous things that move the organization forward. The board is the group that can provide advice and direction to the president. It's not the role of the board to say, you know, these are the events that we want to do, and we'd like to do this event on this date. It's something that's much broader and more nuanced than that. And it's saying, you know, how do we take care of this organization to make sure it doesn't just serve us, but it serves the students that come after us. And done right, it will probably serve the students that come after you much more than you. But there are things that you need to bring to the table as student governors or board members to do that effectively. The first thing that I would think about and encourage you to do is to listen, all right? If you get elected to the board of SMUSA, there is nothing about you that has now anointed you to know what's better for students than the rest of your peers, okay? You are one of the people that you represent. You aren't a figurehead for the students at all. So don't lose sight of that as you go along. And it becomes very, very important that you listen first. The best governors that I met, the best board members I served with, and I served with a lot of them. I was on the board for 4 years before they wanted to get lost. But the best governors that I knew, and Mitch is here, and Beach is here, and others, they really listened first and thought about what was best for the organization. The instances we had where we would lose sight of that is when someone would take a position and think about what they wanted to do because it's what they felt like doing. And that's really not the role of the board at all. The other thing I would say that becomes really important is thinking about the manner of relationships. SMUSA is one part of the SMU community. You will deal in that role, and certainly some of you will, with administrators through committees. You know, various board members will be on, you know, the board of governors of the university, the Senate, various committees. And you really need to think about and learn how to work with your partners here to make change. Where that becomes pivotally important is building relationships. So when you get to the point that you have to disagree, you can do it constructively and be heard, okay? Governors or organizations where you don't listen and support your partners on things you're aligned on will not have partners when you have problems, okay? So foster those relationships. The other thing that I would say in my experience that helped was thinking about when I wanted to be heard as a member of those committees or a member of the board table. There's very little value in speaking for the sake of speaking. And someone that speaks at every board meeting but doesn't say anything that everyone else isn't already thinking about or doesn't already know, doesn't bring something new to the table. It was often the board members that would speak 3 or 4 times a year, but bring something very profound and very important to the table that moved the needle and had that impact. So again, I bring it back to it not being about you. I mean, people will get involved in these organizations because they're interested in leading, as you should be. But if you do your work well, your work will speak for itself. Doing what's best for you is doing what's best for the organization, and that will be reflected in the impact you have in the community. Which really brings me to speaking about how this has benefited me while I was here and then benefits you in your career. The first place being those relationships. I can't tell you how often in daily life, certainly on a weekly basis, that I will reach out to somebody that I met at SMU, somebody that I might have served on a board committee with, for example. You spoke of the businesses I've involved in. One of them is a construction business. And we're doing the ready-mix concrete right now for the new entrepreneurship and innovation hub. Before that, we did the ready-mix for the arena. And where I can see the tangible result in that is when I started into the family business, I was probably 22, 23 years old, like kid off the street type MO if you didn't know who this person was coming in to try to run the business. And when I quoted the job for the arena, there were questions from everybody about why should we give the job to them? And my price had to be the best, and it was. The next piece that became important was I was able to look the administrators and the decision makers in the university in the eye and say to them, look, I've worked with you for 4 years. You guys know that if I say we can do something, we can do it. It's no different now that I'm in private business as opposed to when I was in student government. So you're building your personal brand, and you are doing that through how you govern while you are here. So there's no short-term gain. No one gets away with anything in life, okay? If you do something that you shouldn't do because it's short-term and expedient, it will come back. If you slowly do what is right and you make it a purpose to do that every time you can, it will benefit you in all these ways that you can't possibly conceive of now. I can remember I took a trip to Toronto once when I was trying to start this little art business that I have. And I bumped into the dean of the Sobey School of Business on the street in Toronto. And she said, we're going to this event, why don't you come with us? And I was on the way back to my hotel. I went to the event, and through the event, I met someone who was one of my first customers and bought 3 or 4 paintings from me. That was so important to getting the business started. So that would not have happened if not for St. Mary's and if not for those roles in student government. So it will benefit you, but don't set out to say, what can I do that will benefit me? Set out to say, what can I do that will help this organization? And if it grows the organization, it will very much grow you too. The other thing that I will say is student leadership or leadership in general becomes very much a way of life. I'm aware there are 11 of you competing for 4 spots. So I hate to tell you, but the odds aren't good, okay? Most of you are not going to get the spot on the board, and it doesn't matter. I knew people that ran for the board who I got to know doing it, never got on the board. I remember that they ran. I never think about the fact that they didn't get on the board. I think about the fact that I met them, that we competed fairly, that we got along, and I got to know them. So the relationships with your colleagues who you're competing with in a certain sense are super, super important too. And you will look back, I mean, you are best positioned to be the leaders of this institution, okay? I thought when I was in student government, I will not lose touch with what it's like to be a student. I've been so involved, right? I'm in my late 20s now, I'm 29, and I can tell you, I already do not feel that I am as well equipped as you guys are to lead and provide student leadership, because you very quickly get out of touch and it just happens. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, I see in the news, I know you've got, you're coming out of COVID, you've got the faculty strike you have to think about. You have, the financial responsibility for the organization, but those things will all come to pass, and St. Mary's is a strong enough institution, you will come through them. So do that. And finally, the last thing I would say is that enjoy it and have fun. I brought my friend from, no one changes, you get older and everything's like sort of exactly the same, except you're older and out of touch. But I mean, I brought Sean because we're going to a party tonight. So I mean, everybody's are still going to go to parties and all that stuff is still going to happen and it will be here. But don't wish it away and look for the next thing either, because you will look back. I mean, I tell stories about this institution, about things we did on the board all the time. And I'm slightly older, I have more experience than I had then, but some of the very best ones are still absolutely here. So it's a privilege to be able to run. It's a privilege to then be able to look back, and all of you are going to do that. And build your network. There are people like Mitch and Diksha and Paula, and I'm here. Reach out to anyone for help or advice anytime, and anyone that's been through it will help you. So that's another advantage of being young. People will help you. Okay, you can go in and you can ask for help, and you will readily get it. So do that. Wish all of you well. Keep hard. Put up a few funny posters if you haven't. When I ran, it was a poster of me wearing a suit like this. I was a little smaller then, and of course I'm Brian Rice, and I had a Minute Rice box where Minute had been replaced with Brian. So it didn't speak at all about my ability to govern. It had nothing to do with that. I had to get elected first. So anyway, make sure you do that and get elected, but don't think about the sweeping changes you're going to go in and make as an individual. Think about what does the institution do, look at the history and see where it has come, and look where you want to go as you move forward. And if you do all of that, you'll have a great career in student government, and everyone else that's watching will want to get involved, and they'll envy you for doing it. So thank you very much, and really pleased to be here.
Thank you so much, Brian, for those wonderful words. It's definitely an honor to have you here today. While we have you here, I'm going to ask you to come up again. I would also like to invite our president and CEO, Isabel Tyler, and the chair of the board of directors of smusa, Alex Wilson, to say a few words and present a small token of our appreciation.
Alex, what's on your LinkedIn? You want me to read that?
I'll be very brief. I just want to thank Brian for coming out tonight, and I want to thank there's numerous former board members, current board members that are here as well. Just want to give you guys the appreciation for coming out tonight, showing support of the organization. I think it's really good when we're able to have somebody like Brian, who's done so much for the organization over his time, to be able to come in and speak. And great speaker, by the way. I've been coming to these for about 4 years now, and I think I was probably one of, if not the best ones we've had. So give another round of applause for Brian, because it's really
Thank you again, Brian, Isabel, and Alex. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone, when the floor to questions open up later, we will take a few questions from the audience here and then take a few questions from Zoom. For our audiences present here, please raise your hand, and Maria, our DRO, will bring the mic over to you if needed. For our audiences present on live Zoom call, we would appreciate if you can put your questions in chat. Please do consider we might not be able to accommodate all the questions considering the time constraint. In that case, you are free to email us with your questions later. Now, we would like to introduce to you Paula Milliken. Paula Milliken has been a friend of smusa for more than 15 years and for about that long has been moderating our elections today. When she is not working with us, she works with boards worldwide on governance. Paula also serves as the CTO of Spark, a leading and innovative HR tech company, and also writes a weekly opinion column for allnovascotia.com, Atlantic Canada's leading business publication. In addition to her work life, she is a competitive sailor and skier. She has one daughter who is currently completing her PhD at Waterloo. And I'm sure Paula is very happy to be with us this evening again. Yeah. Without further ado, I will now pass it over to Paula.
Well, thank you. Okay, 11 candidates. Are you ready? Okay, so how this will work, the candidates have been given 6 questions ahead of time. They also know how long they have to answer. If you're starting to run over, Mitch is keeping time for me tonight because I have to keep track of this. And that when he makes this sound, stop talking. Okay. In order to keep it fair, I have randomly generated the order in which all the questions are going to be asked this evening. So I'll let you know before each question what your order is. It would be smart to write down the person before I for you so you fit in. Okay. So the order for the first question is going to be Tyler, Tellis, Shanika, Naima, Huzefa, Owe, Pavik, Misha, Lipika, Anushka, and Ajay. Did I get everyone's name correct? Okay, if I don't, feel free to correct me because I have to make mistakes. So the first question is really a yes/no question. It says 30 seconds, but better for everyone if you made it short. There's a couple of these that are in here, and I just want them stated, and I'm sure you wonder why do I ask these? Because it's happened in the past that people have done these things which are less than correct. So we ask so that we have it on record that the students commit to that. So would you ever make a personal promise to give someone a role in SMUSA in return for their support for you in this election? And Tyler?
No, absolutely not. I'm running on a platform of values and of results, and those results are going to be achieved in every case by the most qualified group of people, not those I will show favoritism to, because no one will receive favoritism. Thank you.
Tell us.
The answer is absolutely not, because that is unprofessional and unethical too. Just like I am a spot again on the board, if you want to join SMUSA, I could advise you on different positions you can go into to join SMUSA or any department on SMU, because it is fair. This election is fair. So I would never do such a thing like that. No way.
Thank you so much, Paula, for that question. I firmly believe that in every organization, there should be a certain code of conduct and ethics. And I don't believe that bribing someone is at all ethical or is at all an attribute that a member of BOD should have. And certainly I would not do such a thing.
No promise will or has been made to anyone in return for support. I believe that integrity should be at the forefront of any action done now or when or if elected. Thank you.
For the question, no, I would not make a personal promise to give anyone a position at SMUSA. Every job requires a certain qualification and experience. I feel that everyone should be given equal opportunity to apply for it. Also, the right candidate should be selected based on their merit. Thank you.
Absolutely not. I think it's really against our ethics and values, and we at SMUSA believe that every person we support diversity, accountability, and transparency. So every person must have an equal chance of getting selected.
next. May I ask you guys a favor or this little momentary break? Can you flip those signs around? I'm sure you all know your names. If I could see them. Thank you. Keep going.
Thank you for the question. Absolutely not. It will be unethical on anybody's part to make such a promise to someone, and it will also be unfair, and it will also be unfair for candidates and board members to take part in such a method that will, and it's against values for each. I'm speaking on behalf of everybody that it's not ethical, and our values are not built like that. We'll give our support to somebody who's wanting a position in SMUSA against our will.
Thank you for the question. For me, it's a no because I always believe in integrity and equality, and everyone have the same rights and qualification for apply for any position in SMUSA or anywhere, and they're always gonna be like qualified regarding their experience and qualification. Thank you.
And I would say no, because I'm a person of morals, ethics, and values. And as much as I follow that in my personal life, I'm going to follow it here as well. So definitely no. Thank you.
So of course not. In no way am I going to do anything of that sort, like, because it's unethical. And also, as we highlighted, we pay attention to governance, which is laws. If we don't follow laws, who else will? And like, as a leader, we represent your voice. So I would like to, give equal opportunities to every single person out there. Merits is what is going to be considered. I'll make sure that I provide you opportunities, but it's going to be on you then. Thank you.
I'm going to go out of order and do number 5 next because it's a yes no question. And again, I want it at the beginning of the tape. Oh, I forgot one more, did I? Ajay.
So I believe that if I was elected, it would be my duty and responsibility to perform my role with integrity and free of any kind of bias. And also it would be my duty to declare a conflict of interest wherever there's a possibility of bias and remove myself from the decision wherever there's a possibility of bias. I would conduct the hiring process based on qualifications, past experience, and finding the best fit for the best personality fit for the role in order to improve your experience at SMU as a student. So no, I would not promise to give anyone a role in SMUSA in return for their support for me in the elections.
So we're doing question 5 next because it's key, and I want to hear just yes or no. Okay? So do you commit to honor your obligation to complete your full term on the board and never to resign to run for a better or different SMUSA position? The order of operations will be Misha, Tyler, Anushka, Huzefa, Tellis, Nema, Shanika, Away, Havoc, Ajay, and Lipika. Okay? Just yes or no, so we can get this one done.
Thank you for the question. It's a yes for me.
Yes.
Yes, I believe in authenticity, so I'm going to stay true to my words, which is I am committing myself to you, and I'll prove that.
Yes, I commit to put in my time, effort, heart, and soul to work for you as your community. Thank you.
I have to say yes. Honesty is the best policy, and I have to represent integrity as I'm on this board. So I'll make sure to stay my course.
Yes, I, Naeema Haq, will commit to completing my full term.
Yes, I, Shanika Carter, will commit to completing my full term.
Yes,
from iOS College to complete the term, and yeah.
Yes, I would commit to going the full term, and there's no better place to govern in smusa other than BOD.
Yes, I would like to completing my full term at smusa as a board of director and not leave the position for any other position in smusa.
Okay, now we have the.
Sorry.
One more, my fault.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking at it, and then I'll take care of my current responsibility basis. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are gonna fire me. Okay, so we have two questions that are slightly longer. So each of you are getting 2 minutes for this question, which is, what do you feel is the most pressing issue facing SMU students today, and how would you address it within the context of being a SMUSA board member? And the order for this question is Shanika, Tyler, Huzaifa, Anushka, Tellis, Nema, Away, Lipika, Ajay, and Pavlik. Everybody got that? Okay.
Thank you again for the question, Paula. So there are many issues.
Oh, sorry, you're the last one. H. No, I'm sorry, you're not. You are, I did that wrong. It's Tyler, it's H. Nema comes fourth. So I'll do it again. Shanika, Tyler, Huzaifa, Misha, Anushka. No, I did that better. I've got to go back and forth between two. So give me Shanika, Tyler, Huzaifa, Misha, Anushka, Tellis, Nema, Away, Lipika, Ajay, and Pavlik. Was that everybody? Good, okay.
Thank you so much for that question. So there are many issues affecting the current student population, and among them, I firmly believe that there is a potential lack of communication between SMUSA and the students. Students are not adequately aware of SMUSA policies, their rights, as well as the opportunities that are provided by the SMUSA committee and the university at large. These resources include, but are not limited to, access to the food room for students who are living off campus and perhaps maybe struggling with the constant rise in food prices, scholarships and bursaries that are offered by the financial aid, as well as opportunities provided by various centers, such as the Entrepreneurship Center here on this new campus. As a potential board of directors, I would address these issues by firstly ensuring that students have direct access and good representation regarding these services during these unprecedented times. Highlight these services so that the student population continues to grow and become more knowledgeable about the opportunities here at St. Mary's University. And lastly, ensuring that the policies that as the board of directors we implement address not just the current issues that students are facing, but also future issues. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I believe the biggest issue that students are facing is access to opportunities and the justification of opportunity cost. You're all sacrificing a lot of students, paying exorbitant tuition fees, dedicating a lot of time to school, and it's important that SMUSA does what a student association needs to do. Make that worth your while. Make that worth your sacrifices. And how are we going to do that? We're going to create more opportunities in and out of the classroom. Advocate for benefits for students, both with the university administration and higher authorities, being accessible to students about benefits and their concerns. Society's having opportunities to do great things, like Enactus going to nationals, like the Debate Society hosting Canadian Parliamentary Nationals right here in Halifax. And whatever your interests are, ensuring that you have the opportunity to do incredible things through student organizations. SMUSA will support that. We need to support benefits like experience bursaries, expanding these programs, and focusing on on-campus employment, lobbying for on issues like financial aid, the cost of tuition, and more cost of living related issues to face this crisis and ensure that everyone has a fair swing and to overall improve university life. We need to ensure that everyone has the same access to opportunity, and we'll do that both by communications, like Shanika pointed out, and by creating opportunity ourselves. So we're going to work for students, and we're going to act as a strong student association in everyone's interests. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question, Paula. I feel the most pressing issue faced by students is affordability and accessibility for education. I'm not going to divide it into two obvious subcategories of domestic and international students, but in general, majority students struggle with the cost of tuition, book expenses, housing, and other living expenses, which makes it difficult for them to focus solely on their studies. To address this concern as a SMUSA BOD, I will work with university administrators and local government officials to secure more funding for financial aid and scholarship, and also advocate for policy that makes education more affordable and accessible. I cannot decrease the tuition fees or other expenses, but I can certainly advocate to cap them. The second pressing issue, which I found out from my campaign, is student mental health. There are resources available on campus, but they are not enough to accommodate all students. I will advocate to bring more mental health resources on campus and help to spread more awareness of mental health. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Paula. So for me, the most pressing issue is now involving on campus or maybe in regards into in societies. We have a lot of societies and people are only targeting the trivia nights. So we all have a lot of events. So people think I'm not interested in that specific series. That's why I'm not gonna go for that trivia night. No, go to that trivia night. You'll get to know about more events and more societies. Because my first year, I was like scared to cross from Barrier to Rice. So for that reason, I was like, I have to go somewhere and find people. Because as an international student, it's so hard to find people, make friends, and I'm so introvert as a person, and I know how hard it is. So I know a lot of students sometimes just come to visit campus or paying their tuition and going for the classes and grabbing their degree. No, you are not here for just this. Make connections and all stuff. And I'm here today with three special things, which is student involvement or engagement, transparency, and accountability, which is like three major things I think we need in our government position. And I'm mostly focusing on student involvement because when I start my campaign, most of the students don't even know like what this election is for. And it's maybe because of the communication gap with the society, or students are not interested enough. So maybe we can work through those communication gap between students and the societies, or maybe university resources. What like most of the people even don't know we have a food room. They can grab their like free foods as a student. So yeah, that's my point. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paula, for the question. So, as my fellow mate said, finance, opportunities, and mental health. These three concerns are out there. For finance, we all know how much we're paying, but are we getting I want to make sure that we're getting the worth of what we're paying for. Tuition fees, it is high. We cannot reduce it for you or do anything. But as Rizal said, we can cap it. We can come up with something to prevent it and make sure that you get the opportunities. And as I said, these are interconnected. Mental health is because we don't get the opportunities and we're mentally affected by it. Like, what are we going to do about it? Because like, if I'm not involved, I'll be mentally stressed. So as a candidate, what my goal is to go out there, press your concerns, and make sure that you guys get opportunities. If we finance things, if we make sure there's enough awareness, I think we can all work together to make the society better and like, equitable for every single person out there. Thank you.
So to add what my colleagues have said, I think the next thing that we as students have been dealing with is a lack of professionalism and ethics taught by our professors. I know all you guys here have dealt with a very poor professor who don't know how to teach or communicate or don't know how to give you a proper grade, and you work so hard to pass this class and they still fail you, don't communicate with you, or can invest in anything you do. In my experience and other colleagues' experience, they have dealt with this many times. And this is my experience my first semester. My professor helped me with nothing and still failed me regardless of what happened too. And my experience working as EIT, I've talked with so many professors too, and I communicated with one professor, and I just calmly say, "Oh yes, ma'am." She yelled over the phone saying, "Do not call me ma'am. My name is Professor. You shall call me Professor." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like I was going to yell, but I hold my tongue. But that's something I need. Yes, I hold my tongue. But it's something I want to bring awareness to when I join the board, but also in the academic sense, to work with professors and tell them to be self-aware how they speak to the students and students the same way, because we're all adults here. We need to act like it. We cannot say it, but show it. And that goes to professors too, who I can say they have a degree and have experience as well too. It goes both ways. Respect is mutual. You have to earn it to get it.
Thank you for the question. When posed this question to students, the answer was quite uniform among our respondents. Not enough engagement between students. Although there has been amazing work done by several committees, I believe that societies are the mainstream places where people feel most connected. International students in particular feel at home when they are surrounded by students who have similar backgrounds as them. As a member of many societies myself, and attending several meetings, it has allowed me to feel connected to so many like-minded individuals. However, to allow these societies to function effectively, we must review the policies pertaining to them, allowing them to express how we as SMUSA are able to help them, therefore indirectly helping the students. Thank you.
I must say that one of the most important issues that students are facing right now is socialization and getting engaged. I work at Public Library, and I know that students are every day asking for how to get involved. And looking at that, it really came to my consideration that students are not aware of this lack of exposure. Students do not know what resources are available to them in order to avail all these resources. So as a new member, as like working in a library, I know that most students don't know what SMUSA offers. All they know is like SMUSA bus pass. That's it. And instead of that, they should know that they're providing services. They should, most of them don't know about the ski patrol. They don't know about the food community room. And I think that due to lack of exposure, students are not able to achieve what they should achieve. And putting that in context, as a member, I would make sure that I would leverage all the available resources that we have, that we put into the work, so that every student knows like what is going on in university. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For me, it's just, as my fellow members mentioned already, there's stripe, there's fees, there's everything else. But for me, as I've been able to communicate with the students, I've seen that there are a lot of concerns, not only regarding these things, but there's other things like people want to do a job, but they don't know what it is. They want to do a subject, they don't know what the subject is. Right now, they're following whatever subject they like, whatever subject they want to do. And that's the path that they're following. And regarding this issue, the thing is, everybody knows, say, I want to take chemistry. I don't know what the jobs related to them are. Of course, Google is not alone going to help me, right? And many people don't know about career and experiential learning. I know, I don't know if anybody else knows or not. Many people don't. And I keep telling them about the resources. But the thing is, I think exposure is definitely mandatory for all of these things so that students are aware of the resources. And
discussion in the board of where we can actually activate a society or a group member who can actually discuss of these issues, right? Like maybe there's a science faculty, there's a commerce faculty, there's an arts faculty, there's faculty related to a subject who can tell you, or of even though you like this one particular subject, you have a job opportunity in that. And that's how we're going to make a change. That's how we're going to make students feel comfortable and confident. And that is what I'm aiming to look for. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll restrain myself if I'm going over the 2 minutes here. So I'm out. So I think that the most pressing issue facing SMU students and other students across Canada today, like Tazwar Toki stated at the presidential debate, and my friend here, Josefa, has stated already, I agree with Josefa completely. The biggest pressing issue is the rising cost of living and tuition. So I'm going to bring some facts in here, and also student debt, obviously. With an inflation rate of 6.8% in November and 6.3% in December, and a report by Statistics Canada stating that the cost for food hasn't been this high and since 1981. And from the conversations that I've had with students in the past few days of my campaign, I've discovered that an increasing number of us are working full-time to pay tuition and to be able to afford a living cost ourselves. I work 2 jobs myself, so I can completely relate and empathize with students that are working tirelessly, juggling classes, work, assignments, and somehow against all odds, maintaining a high GPA. If elected to serve on the board of directors, I plan on not only advocating for more need-based and achievement-based scholarships and bursary opportunities alike, but also making them more accessible, increasing awareness, and having supports in place for students who would like to apply, such as help with writing your personal statements. Another change I would like to bring about is an increase in on-campus job opportunities. Since on-campus job opportunities are a lot more flexible and more likely to understand your academic commitments. Working full-time also makes it difficult for students to attend in-person classes, so I'd like to advocate for more flexible academic resources, such as recorded in-person lectures in case you miss a class, more online classes, and more remote options for students that are unable to attend in-person classes. Additionally, I feel that our university's greatest strength lies in our diversity and our inclusivity. I think that sometimes certain students don't feel a sense of representation. Again, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think that sometimes we don't feel a sense of belonging and a sense of well-being on campus, and I want to change that. I think that as a board member, I'd like to advocate for more societies and events.
A couple of issues that students face today, but the main one that I was talking to students in my campaign was societies. Many students don't know what societies are there on campus, or they don't even know that SMUSA head societies, or they even post about societies on their Insta page. So I would like to to put some media. I would like that societies today put more. Going on the last point, so societies, people don't know about societies, and many people they like to debate, or they like entrepreneurship. And many societies they post stories on their Insta, but many people don't follow them. So I feel that increasing of marketing by societies and people going and searching for societies is a key role that SMUSA can play. They can put events on their Insta page, or even on their in the student building about what societies are doing. Another thing that I felt that my fellow candidates said was mental health. Being in societies really increases chances of mental health increasing substantially, because if they are fun, you get to do outdoor activities like going, like in Actis, they take you to different places. and like even there are some competitions happening that take you to Montreal or maybe across the world. So being on these sites, they really help you engage. And like some people mentioned that, people don't really know like the professors, they don't understand the professors. So you go to a society and you meet people and they're like, okay, we can study together, or I can teach you something. You network with people, and that's what I want to do as a board of director, to increase society's involvement that will help people to be benefit.
Choose a short one. And since the speaker has stayed, a little high test here, which is, what did you learn from tonight's guest speaker? What's one takeaway you had? You have 30 seconds to answer this question. And the order is Nima, Away, Lipika, Ajay, Pavitt, Shanika, Tyler, Huzaifa, Misha, Anushka, and Telus. Did I get everybody? Good job.
Thank you for the question. 3 things that stood out to me while listening to Brian Rice speak. Sorry. The organization does not serve us, but the students and students to come. Listen and do not lose sight of the goal. And lastly, win or lose, enjoy the moment, as these relationships last forever.
Thank you for the question. And the key takeaways from Brian's speech today was that you should work as a team. As a student leadership, and being the role of the student leadership, you can bring change. And I think that change is always better. And another thing that was highlighted, that you have to work on the long term. You should think as a long term instead of taking short term action. So you should know what you are doing. Thank you.
What I learned from him is that the main thing is you've got to focus on the bigger picture here. You got to focus on your role as a board directors, and you can't just be putting your self-interest in between of that. You got to think in terms of students. You got to take care of everyone else, and you got to be listening to them. You got to build relationships with them as well as your fellow members, and you want to show your work by speaking, by taking action, by discussing about it, and by actually making it work. Thank you.
Okay, so some of the few things that I took from Brian Rice's speech are, when issues arise, it's important how you react, and the values that you bring to the table are very important. It's important to work things into your schedule. Justice is a big one, standing up against discrimination, having a strong moral compass to tell right from wrong. And another thing that I took is that good governance isn't about you, it's about the greater purpose, and it's about the quiet work in the background that nobody sees. Another thing that I took away is that our role here.
3 things that I really learned from his speech was relationships and how you maintain them are key in any governing body, and that's what builds a governing body for the future. And it is not about you, it is about the governance and what is best for the organization. And it is also about purpose. What you do and how you do it are key for an organization.
Thank you again for the question. So a few things that I took from Brian's speech was that good governance does not depend on an individual, but rather an organization. And any few attributes that makes up a good leader is the ability to listen, value and cherish relationships, as well as a noble understanding that we are in the act of serving others and not ourselves. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Mr. Rice very much for sharing here today and say that the most striking thing that I found in that speech was the importance placed on the unelected leader, someone who's not a part of the SMUSA board, someone who's not a part of any SMUSA executive. The people who are just out here in the community doing the right thing, being engaged, leading a society, helping people in their community, being just nice to someone when they're out at Dockside, in Loyola Academic. You know, just doing the right thing. You are the ones who are going to be leading SMU forward, who are leading our community. And I just want to be a part of the board so that I can create that framework and help you. Thank you so much.
First of all, I would like to thank Brian for taking out his time and coming here to motivate us. From Brian's speech, what I've learned today is how important it is to be diversely inclusive of all people, communities, and cultural values. Listening, understanding how to work with our colleagues, and thinking when to speak and when to be heard. Brian is the best example of going above and beyond to serve for students, and that's what I'm looking for if I be at the BOD.
Thank you, Brian, for your so potential speech. And from your speech, I took few stuff, which is student leadership, involve student governance, and also listen to your team. Listening is something that is very important, even if you are working with a team or with other people. And I always look forward to listen to anyone regarding the board of director position or anywhere in my around. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. That was wonderful, the points that you covered. So, like how you voice the change and constructive teamwork. Like, I'm not perfect, but delegating the work when necessary is very important. And understanding the value of your team members, like understanding all of you right now, is what is very important because I'm building a relationship with you and this university as a whole. So, not to call, guys. Thank you.
That was a beautiful message. To make it simple, leadership is not about you, it's about you and your crew. And what I learned as I am elected on the board, it's not going to be about me. It's not going to be about me, which is you. It's about what I can do for SMU, what I can do for this organization, and help students be involved and support leadership, equality, and genuinity, and everything I do.
Okay, we're going into the last long question, which they have 2 minutes to answer. I'm going to tell you the order and then I'm going to read the questions. You have time to write it down. It is Pavic, AJ, Lipika, Away, Neema, Tellis, Anushka, Misha, Josefa, Tyler, and Shanika. Everybody have their names? Great. Okay, the question, which you have 2 minutes to answer, Mr. Timer, is what are the 3 things you would like students to consider as they cast their votes in this election?
Firstly, do go and vote. And before voting, go and read everybody's platform, because if you like the platform and you align with their ideas, that will be great and you can vote for them. Secondly, I would like to mention that as a board, it would be the duty to make long-term policies and help SMUSA as a whole and students too. So, and students who come after us. So vote for change that's going to happen in SMUSA in the next 10 years, not expecting that, okay, the board is going to do something that's going to change something maybe in the next 10 days or maybe in the next 1 year. Go with a long-term plan, and if your ideas align with somebody's long-term plan, go and vote. Thirdly, I would like to tell students that as a BOD, you would expect us to answer the questions that you have or even resolve them. But as a board, all of us here, we are going to try our best to hear your concerns, and some of your concerns won't get resolved. So don't get disheartened, or don't say that I voted for him because I thought they are going to change this or that. We will try our best, but hopefully this change will happen, and the change will stay with SMUSA and make it into a better organization than it is today.
Okay, so number one, like the presidential candidates had also stated in the presidential debate, and I completely agree with it. No matter who you decide to vote for, regardless, please do vote. No matter who wins the elections, the decision will better represent the student body if there is a higher voter turnout. I think last year we had 1,000 or 900 to 1,000 in that ballpark voters, and this year we hope to have a whole lot more. If all of you vote, the decision of who ends up on the board of directors will be much more valid. It will be a big win for the elections committee also, and will redeem all the diligent hours of hard work and sweat that they've put into this. I also agree with something else discussed at the presidential debate. Don't treat these elections as a popularity contest. Don't vote for your friends. That's not the right reason to vote for someone. Vote for someone that you think will be able to best represent you, represent your interests, and someone whose values align with yours. I highly recommend that you speak with all the candidates, get to know them as individuals before voting, discuss their platform with them, and also discuss their ambitions and plans for SMUSA. Vote for someone who is passionate about hearing your concerns and advocating for you. Someone who will be your voice, empower you, and work with you to improve your experience here at St. Mary's University. Your decision will directly affect the changes in policy and how your next year will look like at St. Mary's University. So no pressure. Point number 3, I think that as a member of the board of directors, communication with the student body is very important and crucial. You want to elect a candidate that is good at communicating with the student body and good at discussing major student concerns and working with you to figure out what can be done to improve or resolve these concerns.
For me, the first one would be partiality. I'm not a biased person myself, and I feel like nobody should be, right? I mean, voting for your friends is one thing, but if you feel like they're capable of doing whatever the job says to, I think you should vote for them. And for me, morals and values matter a lot. So whenever it comes to actually rightfully doing a job, I would only prefer to vote a person who's actually going to be following those things. Second, if you're clicking with a candidate, like you're seeing their posters, you're seeing their pages, and you think like, okay, this person has aspired, I need to talk to them. Just go and talk to them, and nobody's going to hesitate in answering you for anything. They're definitely going to talk to you. They're going to tell you about their platforms. They're going to tell you about the things that they plan to do, and that's what you should do, because you're a student. You're expecting them to do something. You're expecting them to make a change. And that's what you should do. You should go talk to them, and you should definitely ask them for the things that you demand. Also, I think experience, dedication, motivation, empathy. These are the things that a normal human should have. And I think whenever you look at a person and you talk to them, you're better able to judge how the person is. And the biggest thing about this is if a person is empathetic, and if they are capable of making a change, if they are capable of understanding people, not just looking at them, looking at their circumstances, looking at where a person is coming from. I think that's the biggest step that a leader should have. I mean, if they don't have empathy, I don't know how they're going to be able to represent the students' concerns. They should be able to understand in themselves first of how things work. And that's what I expect of all of you guys before voting. And please do vote. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to say that please do cast your vote. It's better to vote than not to vote. And the Second thing I would like to say is that please vote with responsibility. Know who you are voting for, know their platform, know what they're standing for. And another thing is like, know if they possess the leadership qualities that might be able to execute what they are trying to say during their campaign. And secondly is vote for the person who aligns with your values and who aligns with your morals. You should know the person you are voting for. It's not based upon like, it's just not like, just vote for someone who's your friend. No, like all of these candidates sitting here, they all deserve an equal chance and you should see what they are standing for. And lastly, I would like to say is like, while voting, keep in mind that the people you're choosing right now will shape the future of student bodies. So make sure that you choose the right candidates. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. My apologies, Brian. But three things that I would like students to consider when voting are, this is not a popularity contest. I repeat, this is not a popularity contest. Choose someone who you believe is competent for the task and not because that person is your friend. Elect an experienced person, a person that you can trust to advocate for you. Choose someone whom you can relate to. We are all students with different backgrounds, and you should choose someone whom you feel that you can speak to freely about your concerns. As the board of directors work in the best interest of the students. Last but not least, choose someone who listens, but not only listens, but takes action. For all talk and no action leads to no improvement, thus not changing any of your concerns. So vote for someone who stands for something and will not give up until they have given it their all. Thank you.
Humble and direct. Those are some qualifications you pick for someone to vote for. You want someone who you can go to and talk about anything, who's relatable, who can just hear you and not just cut you off, but just give you straight eye contact to say, what's going on? You want someone who is always opposed, who's down late, and after talking with them, you feel encouraged, you feel driven, and someone who will tell you what's what. And if you have someone like that who's present for the board, they'll bring whatever issues you have to the board and get it done as well. And also too, you want to vote with someone who have left a positive, encouraging impression on as well too. And as you look back and say, hey, it's that guy, it's that girl, and they was on the board, I think to myself, wow, they were so great to me. And I think to myself, if they can do it, if he can do it, if she can do it, then I can do it too. You want someone who you want to create a cycle of growth and wealth and joy for smusa. And that's what the board should be about, to create that cycle of growth, to create that cycle of fulfillment and encouragement, to create a cycle where all the students are involved, where all students can have fun. And also too, that's what I feel we're all here for. We all have left a mark and impression for each student here who are here supporting us back. So don't vote for your friends, don't vote for no one. Vote for someone who has encouraged you every day, who have lived to you, and you know it just was once. You was changing yourself from that last experience. So that's all.
So the main point is vote for consistency. Vote for someone who's ready to empower you, uplift you. I'm here today, but I want to see you guys here tomorrow. Like, I want to build leaders and not just like lead like that. Because we have the same goal. We want to voice your opinions. We are your voice. So whatever you tell me, that's what I'm going to listen to. And as I said, I'm here for you. So whatever, whoever you choose, we all have the same goals. We are going to put you first, but make sure that the values that we have lies with your goals too. That's about it. Thank you.
The three things I'm gonna suggest all the students to consider. First, the person you're choosing, check their knowledge and experience they have. Because if you're choosing the person, you're choosing it for the other rest of the student. What experience they have doesn't mean they have all the experience what a board member needs. We all are learning, even I'm still learning. And the second thing I'm gonna say is reliability, because people sometimes don't care what they're working for. They just got the position and forgot what they are on that position for. And lastly is student focused. We are all here for, all the board members, smusa members are all for the students. So they should focus on students, but their demand, their problems. So that's all on my 3 points, and please vote. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Paula. The 3 things I would want you to consider before voting is be responsible and informed voter. Be aware the candidate you elect on 15th and 16th of February will be a voice for next 2 years of your university life. Secondly, consider my platform and vision. I stand for inclusivity, diversity, and strategic leadership. I want SMU to be a more safer and more inclusively diverse place. Thirdly, I want you to know that you matter. I care about you as a student and as an individual. Being an international student, I've been exposed to a situation of hardship, uncertainty, and instability in life, and I've emerged as a phoenix. My experience have taught me to look at people for who they are, understand them, and value them. Know that your concerns are my concerns, and your voice is my command. When I get elected, I will do everything in my power to hear you, to hear your concerns, and make sure your concerns are being worked upon and delivered by time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And to everyone who's here today and everyone joining us from Zoom, I'd like to invite you to focus on 3 qualities in a candidate. And if you follow my campaign even a little, you already know what they are: communication, engagement, and accountability. Who do you trust to care about what you say and to bring it forward? Who do you regularly see in the community, staying active in the communities that they say they care about? Who do you believe you can depend on to stay accountable to you and to keep others accountable when it comes to the issues that really matter? These are 3 really important things for you to think about and questions for you to answer as you consider how you're going to use your vote in this election. I can't answer that for you, and no one here really can. So take a look at our platforms, at our experience, our records, at who we are, who we've been, particularly before we started asking for votes, and maybe have a conversation with us. And draw your own conclusions about those issues of communication, engagement, and accountability, and what you really want to see out of your board, and make a decision, stick to it, and be sure to vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paula, again for that question. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and supporting us today. As you consider who you're going to vote for on the 15th and the 16th, let me just say, vote for someone who considers service over self. Vote for someone who will put your interests before their own. Vote for someone who is a leader, who has a vision, who is goal-oriented, and who will set policies in place that will address the issues that you just don't face now, but issues that students to come will face in the future. Vote for someone who is accountable to themselves, to SMUSA, and to the president, whoever he or she will be in the future. Vote for someone who will make a change. On the 15th and the 16th, go out and cast your vote, as your vote will determine the future leaders of St. Mary's University. Thank you.
One more question, and it's got a very short time limit, and then we'll be moving to questions from the floor. So if you have a question, start getting those ready. I'll be going to the floor quite shortly. So the last question, I'm going to give you the order first, is Josefa, Anushka, Tyler, Neema, Shanika, Ajay, Tellis, Pavik, Away, Lipika, and Misha. Did everybody hear their name? You got that? Okay. So the last question that is from the prepared questions is to explain your understanding of what fiduciary duty is and how you would discharge it if you were successful in attaining a board role at SMU. Again, sorry, at SMUSA, again, that's 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you for the question, Paula. As per fiduciary duty, I will act on behalf of students, putting your interests ahead of my personal interest with duty to preserve good faith, trust, transparency, and follow the due diligence. I solely believe in the statement by the student, for the student, and of the student. When elected as your duty, both legally and ethically, I will act in the best interest of SMUSA as an organization, its stakeholders, and us students. Thank you.
Fiduciary duty is something where I stand for you guys. Anything that I do is for your interest. And it's about duty of care, because as a member, I would be concerned for you. I'll care for you and I'll be loyal to you. Anything that I do would be for you. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. So for anyone else who, like myself, had to Google this term, this essentially means trust. It means acting in the best interest of others, and it is the basis of everything we do at SMUSA. It's about even putting the best interest of others over your own interests, treating them as if they're your own. And that's what I'll do if elected. You can trust me. I care about St. Mary's. I care about our community and the people in it. And I have the character and the skills to govern effectively and take care of St. Mary's in the way that this fiduciary duty demands. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. Fiduciary duty, to my understanding, is always acting in the best interest of the students. When and if I am elected, I will do this by holding the president accountable and always asking for documentation where needed, and always remaining and standing in a position that benefits all students. Lastly, always being honest and transparent during any meetings that the board of directors hold. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. To me, it means that I have a legal responsibility to act in the best interest of the students and not myself. I will put the concerns of the students above my own, and I will act in a manner of integrity, honesty, and accountability. Thank you.
Okay, so like Tyler, I also had to do this term to find the meaning and have a better understanding of it. So, citing this from Investopedia, which defines fiduciary duty as a relationship between a fiduciary and the principal or beneficiary on whose behalf the fiduciary acts. In this case, based on my understanding, the student body would be the principal or beneficiary, and I would be the fiduciary. To my understanding, fiduciary duty is the responsibility invested in me if I get elected to serve as a member on the board of directors.
I understand that this means obligations plus loyalty to an organization. For example, SMUSA. If I'm on the board, I want to be a voice for the voices for students, a student for students. Anything happens, I will dissolve this among the board and the president as well, in an ethical, management, respectful manner. That's what being on board is about, doing things the right way. And we are here to set an example though, so that way many people will follow and do the same thing as well. Thank you.
I understand that fiduciary duty is to put the interests of students and SMUSA before mine. And what I feel that fiduciary duty are two words that define me as a person. I always try to keep others before me, be it my friends, be it my families, be it somebody who's walking down the corridor who needs help. I'll always look up to them. If I'm running late for class, no problem, I'll help them. That's who I am as a person. Putting people in front of me, that's who I am. And if you want to vote for somebody like that, everybody is like that here. So I feel that
Thank you for the question. And fiduciary duty is the legal obligation that we must act in the best interest of SMUSA and students. Therefore, anything that comes up which involves the conflict conflict interest. So I must act in the favor of SMUSA. I should not have any personal agenda behind this decision. If being found, if I know that I am like associated with it, I must back down and tell the board that I am part of it and must not take any decision that might end up in my favor. Thank you.
My course, so I had a little bit idea about it. So I know it's meaning to work for the law, for the company, and for the students. And again, if I'm in a situation where there's a discussion about which is going to make me partial, I'm going to back off. And that's who I am. I'm a person who helps, who loves helping people, who is following her values and morals everywhere. And I'm definitely going to follow that here as well. So please expect that from me. Thank you.
Thank you for the question again. And as Tyler mentioned, fiduciary refer to trust, and fiduciary duty is a legal obligation. A person having this duty is legally required to uphold that trust. For example, as a board member, we owe it to the students and our team to work on their best interest. And if I'm a successful become a member of the board, I'll make sure that I follow the fiduciary duties with no partiality, with transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Okay, are you going to grab the mic and be charged with questions? All right, while you get set up, I'm going to tell you guys the order of the next one, which is Away, Ajay, Shanika, Havoc, Huzaifa, Lipika, Tyler, Misha, Hellas, Shanika, and Anushka. Did I get everybody? Did I get Shanika, okay. No, I shouldn't have said it twice, so I read one wrong. Let me try it again. Owe, Ajay, Neema, Havoc, Huzaifa, Lipika, Tyler, Misha, Tellis, Shanika, and Anushka. Got it? Okay. It's time. All right, so we're going to go with this just because there's so many of you. We are going to pick questions. If you don't want to answer the question when it's your turn, you can say pass. Okay, so don't feel compelled. If you feel you have nothing to add or it's not something prepared, you can say pass when it comes your turn. All right, so in order, we're going to go with guy in the green striped shirt, girl in the green sweater, and guy in the black t-shirt with the earpods. Those are your three.
Where is the guy in the striped shirt?
Right there. Yeah, is that black with green stripes? It looks green from here. When you ask a question, you need to be short and concise, and it doesn't involve you taking the time here to have a platform of some sort, or I will cut you off, and that's not fun. All right, go for it.
All right, thank you. So my question is, understanding the responsibility you bear, what makes you think that you stand out from the others to bear such a heavy responsibility?
You need to repeat it. Okay, understanding the responsibility that these positions bear, what makes you feel that you will stand out from all the others in meeting and honoring that responsibility?
Thank you for bringing this question. I would say during the course of my life at SMU, during the first year, I really struggled, but over the time this year, I really got involved into this new life, and I really want to contribute it, and I really think that I must make an impact in my university where I can provide each and every student with the life they should have at the same place, and given with the responsibilities that I have, and I'm a really committed person. I really commit what I do. So if I am committed to doing something, I would try my best to take an extra step to make sure that it is completed on time. Thank you.
So what I think would put me ahead of the other candidates in terms of serving my responsibility as a member on the board of directors is that I feel like my strongest quality is my strong moral compass and being able to stray away from bias and favoritism and being able to remove myself from the decision if there's any sort of possibility for bias. I also have a passion to serve students. I want to hear your concerns. I want to bring about the change that you want to see at this university. And I think that's it.
Thank you for the question. I think what separates people from others are experience. I feel like experience will take you a long way. I am no stranger to being involved in schools back home and here. I feel like also being visible to the students, allowing them to know who you are and always being there so that they can see that you are also involved and not behind the doors and only coming out for foods. Thank you.
I feel that as a person, I am a person who wants to help others and wanting to make students experience a better SMUSA and a better SMU by organizing societies or even getting them aware about what SMUSA has to offer, that changing the life of students in SMU, that's what I feel that I have the passion to make that happen, and if I get elected, I will promise you that I would do that.
So I'm a friendly person. Even if I walk in the library just 10 meters, I meet like 10 to 12 people. I know people really feel comfortable talking to me, and especially when I'm TAing, students are coming to me like, oh my God, you're so nice, you're so helpful. You don't even want to say like, this is my job, but you take it on your own. So the thing is, people actually love conversing with me, and I am friendly with them. I'm dedicated. I used to come to pack leading, volunteering, everything, even when I broke a leg. So I know that I'm a hard worker. I will commit to everything that you tell me to. I will commit to all my responsibilities. And there's just no excuse for anything. You gotta do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel that I'm going to stand out and be able to shoulder this responsibility properly because I know that this responsibility isn't about me. This is about you. I'm running for the board of directors because of my strong belief in the student community which the board represents and my desire to put power back into the hands of students by working collaboratively upon a foundation of shared values to face important challenges with a different approach and build a stronger St. Mary's. This vote is about you and elect me so that I can put you and all students at the very forefront of SMUSA and its decision making. Thank you.
First of all, I'm a good listener, and I'm from the first year. I'm involved on campus doing volunteering in different societies as an executive member as well. And I want every student to involve yourself, so I can represent them as well, so they can like step out from their introvert zone and participate in everything and make their CVs or CCR good, strong for today. Thank you.
So the you in SMU is about you. I care about you guys. I care about what's best for you all. And also too, it's always good to hear what you have to say. And also me being on this campus, a lot of people know me somehow. They know me from online courses during the pandemic. They'll say, hey, I know you, come online. You ask all the questions. Really? Thanks. And that helped them to learn. And when I met all these students in person, it helped me to show what of the influence I have. So I want to encourage students to get involved. I want to encourage students to be a part of something. I want to help students be more a part of SMU, to be comfortable at SMU, to have a great time at SMU, and do their thing at SMU as well.
Thank you so much for the question. So I've always had a passion for student leadership and student governance. And during my time here at St. Mary's University, I've become immensely involved within the student community. And I've developed a love and a passion for the students here and the concerns that they share. My desire is to ensure that every student that walks through St. Mary's University leaves feeling accomplished, leaves feeling knowing that they have made them maximize their opportunities and leave feeling as if they are prepared for the world at large. I want you to know that when you leave through the doors of St. Mary's University, that the policies that are implemented here now will benefit you and will benefit the students to come. Thank you.
It's all about experience. Like all these 2 years of my life, I've volunteered for 4 to 5 societies now. And I'm pretty active in those. So what I learned is, your opinion matters. Again, like I'm pretty authentic to my word. So what I promise you, I'm gonna work on it. And not just like, for the sake of getting votes, I'm not gonna do it. Because in the end, I want to focus on the development of this society and students. Thank you.
Okay, who guys said it was nice? Green shirt? Pretty sure it was you. Okay. While you're getting ready, the order for this will be Lithika, Misha, Havoc, Away, Shanika, Naima, Tellus, Huzaifa, Anushka, Tyler, and Ajay. All right, so go ahead.
All right, first of all, thank you everyone for coming out, all Canadians and Colin again for your time. I asked a similar question during the presidential debate, and since it's the same organization, I'll address it to you, but maybe a little more concise since it's a lot of you. Out of your platform, all of the values listed, if you had to pick one, what is the top value and why is it the most important?
Thank you for the question, Emily. I think the biggest one is communication. If you can't communicate, if you can't understand people, I just don't think it's valid. Like, there's no use. If I can communicate to you in a way that makes a proper sense, I understand you, I'm able to take up and grab all the points that you're giving me, and then I'm able to make a vision out of it. I'm able to create something meaningful out of it. I think that's what matters the most, and that's what I follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for the question. For me, it's the knowledge. You have to know what you're doing. And if you don't like have to stay on the position because there's a lot of people who have better knowledge of this. So first you have to grab the knowledge. Thank you.
The next is no, it's away.
I would like to highlight is empowerment. Empowerment is really important, and empowering all students to bring up and stand for their vote is really important. And I think that empowerment in the long haul brings changes. And as a student and as a leader, I really appreciate all the empowerment that students give to their leaders, candidates, and we as a candidates provide empowerment to students to make sure that they're voting for the ideal candidate for the team. Thank you.
I crossed you out already. Go for it.
I feel that as a student and as somebody who's been in SMU for only a couple of months, that in a way like my slogan is with the students for the students. So I want to dedicate my 2 years to working on student issues, and I will not back off. I want to tell you guys that back in India, I had a organization and I had a knee injury and a surgery. Even before that, I was working towards helping others, and this is what I feel is my responsibility, helping others out. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For me, it would definitely be service. Understanding that I'm not representing myself, but I'm representing the largest student community at St. Mary's University. understanding that the concerns that I will bring to the board are not concerns of my own, but concerns voiced by the larger student population. Thank you.
Taking action. I think taking action is very important. As I mentioned earlier, we do have to listen, but taking action, because for all talk and no action leads to no improvement, and your concerns will not be changed. Thank you.
I have to say, listening is key in everything you do. And my journey of being a fourth year, I realized that listening is a central part of you being a leader as well. Because so many students go through so many things. We as a board, we should be there to listen to them, hear them out, and be guided to guide them, to guide the board and what we best do to assess the situation and to get it done as well. Listening key is everything you must be. Listening is key to be a leader as well. And as a board, we should listen to these students and address their voice as well. We here on this board, we are your voice, and we are here to make a change in SMU.
My top value will be inclusivity. As I said before, I want SMU to become more diversely inclusive place for us SMU students. Thank you.
So I was going to say empowerment, but Avi's already covered that. For me, empowerment is uplifting my people, uplifting you guys. But the other concern that, like really points out is awareness. Knowing something and being aware of something are two different things. And there's so many concerns going outside, but are we aware about them? Like mental health, like refugees. Those are very critical topics, and it's like a thin line. So I want people to know more about that and do something about it. Not just like, okay, I know this and maybe we'll work on it. Let's work on it. Thank you.
These have all been amazing answers, and it's because there's so many amazing answers that I pick engagement. Engagement has to be the foundation upon which we place all our values. If you're not engaged in the community, how are you going to communicate with people? If you're not engaged with someone else's issues, how are you going to be empathetic with them? How are they going to trust you? How are you going to communicate properly and be a leader? So what's important is engagement, so that you can really be on the ground with people, so you can see your leaders and interact with them, and you in reverse can engage with us, and we can all work together for a better St. Mary's. That's why I pick engagements. Thank you so much.
For me, the biggest thing on my platform is listening to your voices instead of furthering my agenda and my platform. I want to know what issues affect you as a student. I want to know in what ways they affect you. I want to work with you in order to solve these issues and make it easier and improve your experience here at SMU. So that would be my biggest.
Black t-shirt with earpod. So he's right up the side, outside, other side. Okay. After him, I'm going to take a question from online. Okay, and then we'll come back and I'll pick another three from the room. All right, so be ready. And the order for this question is Tellus, Anushka, Misha, Huzaifa, Tyler, Heather, Shanika, Ajay, Lipika, Away, and Nima. Got it? Okay, so let's have your question.
What would you say is a weakness of yours that can possibly hinder you from performing your duties while on the board?
Well, question department. I'm impressed.
I have to say, a weakness of mine would be the inability to act on making sure that you guys come to an issue and I fail in an issue. To me, I feel that would be a big disappointment of mine, and I'll be very upset about being on the board as well. But in it though, when you fail, you're not a failure. When you fail, you learn, you grow, and you become better, and you take it as a lesson. There's no failure, there's only lessons, growing and winning. So the ability to act, I will assess it and move forward and do better. Because like I might not have got what you wanted, but I'll look at this and help our students to do better as well.
It's empathy for me. Empathy means connecting with you guys. It's both my strength and my weakness because it's all about how you play your emotions. Sometimes as a board of director, we have to be practical about things. There are so many things that I wouldn't want to it might not be in a certain, favor, but as a board of director, I would have to. At the same time, sometimes maybe my emotions might lead me, but in the end, I'm here to learn. And I want to put you first. So whatever your concerns are, I'll pay the most attention on it. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For me, it's lack of confidence sometimes, but it's not just weakness. Sometimes I recover from it and learn from it and improvise it. Thank you.
My fear will be losing your trust in me. I'm here only because of you all. So yeah, I will be converting my fear into my motivation and work hard for you all. Thank you.
My biggest weakness by far has to be thinking that I can do more than I can. I'm a debate executive, I'm an Enactus executive and presenter. I, have a lot of schoolwork to do, and I'm doing this, right? I just think I can take on too much, and where I would have to change that on the board of directors is picking more specific issues instead of trying to tackle 100 at once, figuring out what's most important, go after it, really engage, and be a part of the solution there, and stop juggling so many different things that I can't absolutely perfect one. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to achieve perfection together. Thank you.
My weakness is being a little bit introvert and a bit shy, but being a board director and as a Tyler Society is part of societies. I'm also part of societies. I'm a member of Enactus. I am with the Debate Society. I am with the Commerce Society. I try to involve myself, and I'm trying to overcome this. And I also want to mention that if you guys want to talk to me, come to me, ask about my platform, and whatever issues you have, even though if I don't become the BOD, I will try to solve it. Your issues are my problem to solve.
So for me, it would definitely be becoming too attached. If I care about something, I am going to put my foot down. And that sometimes can be a strength as well as it can be a weakness. So for me, I'm going to learn to put my foot down on the right issues in a fair way and in a way that represents integrity. Thank you.
I'm gonna go full honesty mode here. Like Paul said, I am also a textbook introvert. Well, not a complete introvert, but I would say I selectively socialize. So selectively an introvert, if you may. As I'm sure many of you are sitting here, but this is me trying to put myself out there, and I'm trying to, go further than that. I'm trying to improve myself from there. And yeah, so if any of you want to talk about my platform, I'd be completely down.
Overthinking and getting panicked. But the thing is, it always turns out to be my strength. Why? Because I want to go to med school. I want to be in societies. I'm an executive member. I need to make sure I'm doing my responsibilities in a judicial way. But the thing is, whenever I overthink, even if there's a deadline 2-3 weeks ahead of time, I will do it today. It's complete, it's done. So I think it becomes my strength, but also it troubles me, but it's never going to trouble you. Thank you.
My weakness is prioritizing different tasks. And when it comes to this duty, I must say that there are different issues that need to be prioritized. But working on the student body, I must say that it will be really hard to prioritize because different matters are really complex in nature, and effect on any decision would be in the long haul on all student body. So I must say that the prioritizing different issues would be my weakness. Thank you.
To agree with what Shanika said, I am very passionate about certain issues, and if that passion isn't shared among the rest of the board of directors, it would definitely be hard for me to take it in, but that's all part of being on the board. It's compromise. Thank you.
For a question from the online community.
All right, so this question says, while I'm listening to this forum, I'm hearing things like creating more job opportunities for students, capping tuition costs, and so on. My question is, what realistic measures will you be taking to ensure that your change will be executed?
Wow, another good question. Okay, I'm going to give you 45 seconds on that one because I think it's slightly longer. And the order is Ajay, Havoc, Away, Shanika, Naima, Tellus, Huzaifa, Anushka, Tyler, Misha, and Lipika.
So, in terms of job opportunities, like we didn't have a Starbucks here at university before. Now we have a Starbucks. Our Tim Hortons is renovated now. I feel like we could open more fast food joints or more places to go for coffee, places to go for food. Maybe more jobs at the library, more student representatives, and I think that's it.
So what I understand from being a board of directors to making long-term policies and advocating what the president is doing. For me, long-term policies are important because that's what makes an organization important in long-term. So as a board of director, I would try to change policies that would help, like my stand is on societies. So I would try to put policies that would increase what societies are trying to do, the special events that they're going to organize. And even like as other people said that, it's not realistic that we can put our vote towards like the fees and other stuff, but we can try to do our best. That's not in our hands, but as a board of director, I feel I can do changes to policies, and that will be beneficial for SMUSA in the long run. Thanks.
As a board member, like I cannot really promise any jobs or reduction in fees. However, as a member, I can really advocate for the students that we can bring the best possible change by educating them like what is happening, what hardship students are going through. So we can advocate that. We can promise that we are going to bring more jobs and maybe work towards reduction fees, because I think we can just advocate for the students and act in the best interest of the students. Thank you.
So for me, I think I might have interpreted that question a bit on the flip side, because the question did ask about tuition and what we did plan to do about that. So for me, it is simply access to information. I think that is the biggest issue. The resources are here at St. Mary's University. How many of you know that the bursaries now for scholarships and for the bursaries for scholarships are currently open, and you can actually go and apply for a scholarship right now? A few people in the room, and that is the issue. The information that is needed to make students' lives easier are not reiterated at the right point in time. There's so many ways in which you can get access to funding, such as the Entrepreneurship Center. They actually have a paid program right now going on
that all you have to do is attend these sessions and you are paid to attend these sessions and the money that you get goes towards your tuitions. Services like those, ensuring that each and every student has access to the information that they need so that they can, you know.
Realistically, we cannot lower fees or promise jobs, but what we can do is advocate for you and state why these put you at a disadvantage. Just like Shanika said, there are bursaries and scholarships. There's also services to help you with your resume so that you can get a proper job. There are resources that we can put you onto, but we cannot promise lower fees or jobs. Thank you.
To be realistic, small steps equals great distances as well. And be on the board, we have to focus on attainable goals. As Sanika and Naima said, I feel that students need to be more aware of the awards, events, and going on campus as well too. So in my regards to that, students can get an email about, hey, your tuition's past due. Great, now I got more to go add to my anxiety. But why can't students get an email saying that they can apply for this scholarship or bursary? Why can students be aware of more things going on campus? And why can't the programs put us to make students more aware as well, like Bachelor of Science, Arts, Commerce, be where they do, but it's up to students being more aware about it as well. So being on the board, I will personally think more awareness to these benefits and assistance that students need as well. That's all.
For capping expenses in general, advocating and going back and forth with new administrators and government officials, making them understand our perspective and why this is so important for us and why it is becoming an alarm concern. It is not going to happen overnight. It requires time and understanding and cordial relationship between SMU and SMUSA, and I will advocate it till the end day of my office. Thank you.
As a board of director, we write and revise policies. So everybody's done. It's not a realistic thing to say that, oh, we can cap it, we can reduce it, because that's not possible. But we can advocate for it. And at the same time, as I mentioned before, again highlighting awareness. It's very important to be, know about the opportunities. And even Shanika mentioned, there's so many things going outside, but do you know about it? Do we know about it? No, we don't. So it's me trying to let you guys know that there's so many other ways, except for going changing policies or something like that. Like, we just need to use those resources efficiently and make the best out of it. Thank you.
So SMUSA is a private organization at a public institution. And on this foundation, we're going to make decisions today for impact tomorrow and days to come. SMUSA employs people. We're an organization with a budget of over $4 million. We're gonna use your fees. Now, I'm not offering everyone here a job. That is not realistic for an organization of this size, but we can employ some people. We can use our status as an important organization at a public institution to lobby the government. Universities are public institutions, right? They're funded by the government. This is a power we have. We have multiple people from the board who sit on the board of governors for the entire university who get to have meetings with the government, particularly people on the executive, but the board can form policies that will direct these activities, and we can make things better. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For a board member or any of the SMUSA member, we can't reduce any tuition fees or any fees with a student. So what we can do, we can advertise for that. And also you have to know the resources. If you don't know, ask for your friends, ask your professor, ask any of the desks we have. You'll get to know about the bursaries, about scholarship that regarding to your scores. And also for jobs, if you have the qualification, you'll get it. Just ask for it and get to know about what opportunity you have at the university. Thank you.
For me, I'm gonna say you should definitely look for bursaries, yes, but I'm not gonna stick to that point. I think there are a lot of opportunities. Like, of course, I don't have the authority to say that I'm gonna get you the lower fees, I'm gonna give you the job. No, I'm sorry. If I am not a board member right now, I just can't say that. But I'm definitely gonna bring that point up in the discussion, and I'm gonna see what if we actually focus on the psychology of it. What if we focus on the finance of it? I mean, definitely the person who's looking at the expenses and the fees is a smart person. But what if we actually try to look at all aspects of whatever is included in the fee, whatever is bothering the students, whatever psychology and whatever mindset everybody, including who's making the decision, is. And that's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm gonna promise to make a reasonable discussion and make a change. Thank you.
Okay, so no pressure, but we're only taking one more question. So, your question, it better be a good one. All right, you guys good? All right. We've had, so girl in the brown and beige, you. The order of this question will be Anushka, Shanika, Tellis, Misha, Tyler, Lipika, Huzefa, Havoc, Ajay, Away, and Naima. Okay? All right, so go ahead.
How will you as a board of directors deal with any personal issue with other BOD, and how will you make sure that the personal issues will not affect SMUSA and SMU students? Thank you.
You guys are killing the question here. Seriously, I've been doing this for 15 years, far and on best year for questions. You're going to have 30 seconds on this one. Okay, Mr. Timer? 30 seconds it is. Start, go ahead.
What a question, trust me. Everybody has their differences, and definitely we are going to have like a lot of conversations, discussions about the same thing, but in the end, it's our goals. We're here for you, and we will have to compromise. Because like I might have different things in mind, somebody else might have different things. But in the end, we want to work together to uplift you, to bring and make sure that your goals are being fulfilled. So yeah.
I wish to pass on that question. Thank you.
Like I say, we are adults, so it's about time to start acting like adults. If we have differences, I would be an adult and talk to you privately, and I have the board chair as a media to express this as well. There's no reason for us to, it's time to square up. No. We are adults. So let's do this right. Me and you one-on-one, and the board's media to discuss any issues we have and sell it, because it's not about us. We got to move past this to focus on the growth of SMUSA and SMU.
Thank you for the question. We all are here as a student. We have our personal life. And if you sign up for any student leadership, you have to focus on your management. So you have to put aside your personal life problems and solve it through your own way. So yeah, this is how I'm gonna solve my personal problem.
I absolutely agree that if you're standing for this kind of office, you have to act like an adult. You have to put the needs of the organization first, and you cannot be the kind of person to start with who's going to let a petty difference get in the way of an entire student body and their interests. I would return to the answer about fiduciary duty and say that I will put everyone's interests at the very forefront of what we do here at SMUSA, and nothing that has to do with my personal life, which I'll try to resolve any differences. I do not see them coming up. But in any case, every interest of every student at SMUSA, every interest you have is going to be the most important thing. Thank you.
I had the same exact question in my mind, and that's why I know the answer to that. I have done my research. So what you do is basically, if you have a personal conflict, first understanding and empathy is really important, right? So on a personal level, you're going to work on that. But if still your conflict is not resolved, you're definitely going to do a voting amongst the board members, and whatever is the majority, that's what the decision is. Still, if the personal conflict is not solved, you go to the chairperson, and if still it goes to a higher level, then it goes to the general manager. Thank you.
From Brian's speech today, he talked about how important it is to share a good relationship between the students and the board members. And certainly, I think that we all have a professional and personal life, but it is how we stand out and make decisions which is more committed towards our goal and our duties. So, yeah, thank you.
I would say deliberation and talk to each other, as all conflicts can be resolved by talking to each other. And as they say, put your work life separate from your personal life. So if you stay separate, then you'll figure out a way to work together. And another thing I want to mention, I want a promise from you guys today that on Monday or next week, you go to 5 random people, ask them, do they know about SMUSA? And tell them what SMUSA is, what the societies do, make them aware, because you're the change you want to be.
Okay, so like Josefa, Lipika, and Brian Rice have said already, whenever conflicts of interest arise, it's important to deal with them respectfully, deal with them out of mutual respect for each other, and not be selfish, not put yourself first. Again, like Brian Rice said, put the needs of the student first and the student body first. We're here to serve a greater purpose than ourselves, and that's something beautiful to me.
I must say that personal conflict must not be converted into professional conflict. If we are in the office, we are for the students. We are not here sitting for ourselves. Thank you.
I think it all comes down to professionalism. Regardless of any problems or disagreements we may have, we must always go back to our goal, and that is working in the best interest of the students. Thank you.
You have one last thing you want to mention. If I give that to you, everybody else gets. So if you guys want to, hands up if you want 15 seconds each. All right, you got 15 seconds to close the evening. And what we're going to do is you're going to start, and it's going to go this way, and you just pass the mic. And if you don't want to say something, you pass the mic on. Okay, Nima? So you start. You got 15 seconds, whatever you want to say to end the evening, and then you pass the mic to Tyler. And you guys are going to do that. Does that make sense? So the lab is going to end with you. All right, go for it.
One thing I want to say is that win or lose, we are all here for you and want the best for you. So please cast your vote, and that is the only way that we are able to showcase our platforms. Thank you.
I want to work with you. If you come away with one sentence from today, I want it to be that. I want to speak with you. I want to learn about what your interests are, how we can drive them forward together, how we can work collaboratively, what you need from the Student Association. And I just really hope you stay engaged, you stay in communication, you choose to vote. And thank you so much for being here today.
I just want to mention, be it I win or not, I'm just a friendly person. Please come to me, stop by, talk to me, discuss whatever you want help in. I can always mention all the courses that you want to take, everything, every suggestion you want to take from me, just pop by and we can talk. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming here today, and don't forget to vote on 15 and 16. And thank you.
So going back to fiduciary duty, I associate fiduciary duty with the duty of loyalty and duty of care, and to do everything in my control to address student concerns, which can also mean that sometimes we're all humans, we can make mistakes. So fiduciary duty to me means that going back on my mistake and making it right, to admit that we're all humans, being a bigger person, and that's what that means to me.
I just want to say that I am by the student, for the student, and of the student. Go for inclusivity, and strategic leadership.
Say I'm proud of all you guys being here, and I admire all y'all too. And also, as in the song Toy, you got a friend, Tellus. A vote for Tellus is for the best. A vote for Tellus is for the greatest. And have a good night, everyone.
Say that all 11 of us, on behalf of us, we can't promise you anything. Put our faith in us and we'll make it count.
Together we progress, and we're here for you. If you have any questions, let us know, come to us. We'll tell you what we are looking for and how we're going to implement it. Thank you.
So much for coming. Thank you for staying to the end of this session. On the 15 and 16, vote for service, vote for innovation, vote for accountability, and vote smarter with Carter.
I would like to thank you everyone for showing up today. And I would just like to say that it's just a beautiful part of the journey of life. And I just want everyone to enjoy it while it lasts. Thank you.
Stay seated for 5 more minutes. Just give us 5 minutes. Thank you so much for being patient with us. That definitely went longer than we expected. And now our board chair, Alex Wilson, will be joining us just to say a few words. So just 2-3 minutes.
Let's go, Ajay!
It's really great to see a fairly full room. The amount of engagement, quite frankly, on campus, going through the hallways, seeing all the posters. I want to tell you all, great posters. It's really good to see. I made my poster on PowerPoint and it was really bad. That's probably why I lost first time. There's a lot of buzz in general in the St. Mary's community. You go online and see all the posters, see all the social media shares, everybody's sharing the election stuff, all the engagement. And that tells me one thing. That tells me that St. Mary's, and more specifically SMUSA, is back and it's stronger than ever. I'd like to thank the tireless work of the current board, as well as our executive team, for everything that they've done to make SMUSA, to make these events, and make everything better. Furthermore, I think it's really great to see past board members here in attendance tonight. I'd like to recognize a couple of them that I see and that were here. Some had to slip out. Mitch Archibald, who was a former chair, is a CRO. He's a CRO that's Brian Rice, as we already talked about. Brian was a chair for I think 3 years, board member for 4. It's really impressive. His story is really something. When I took the position of chair, it's somebody you look up to and somebody you wish to be. So big shout out to Brian for coming today and for agreeing to be our guest speaker. predecessor, Josh Sidney, is here tonight. Thank you for Josh in the year that I was vice chair, and I really appreciate you coming out to support tonight. I'd also like to recognize Deeksha, sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing names. Deeksha, who is also a former chair. She served in between Mitch's time as chair and Brian Rice's. And last but not least, I'd like to recognize Adam Snow, our former HR and governance chair. He also lived with me for a year, so thanks for that. This event would not be possible without the tireless work and the years of planning, really, the year plan that goes in. That's set up by the elections committee. We have Ashish, who's also our vice chair, and Megan, who's our HR and governance chair. By Nikita. The long hours, and I was the elections chair last year, so I know how much stressful this period can be. And I want to thank all of you for the hard work you've put in. Also, like to give a special shout out to Megan for all the communication. I've been running elections quite a long time, and the most important thing is getting out to vote and voting. That's what matters. You can make all the connections you want, you can meet all the people you want, but unless you get out to vote and you get the voters out and you get out to vote, it's, you know, your efforts left on, you know, deaf shoulders. And I'd like to thank Darshan and Maria. Preparing for this event, it wouldn't be possible. All the candidates here, you wouldn't have been able, quite frankly, to run if we didn't find Sarah Madero. I think Nikita would have lost all her hair. I don't know what would have happened. And you know, their plan to get out to vote, working with Megan to make sure that we get feet on the ground and encouraging students to vote is incredibly important. To the candidates, and it's getting late, I want to go home, I know all you do too. To the candidates, as Brian mentioned, I mean, the odds really aren't in your guys' favor. And that's okay. You know, last year there was, I think, 10 candidates, 7 seats. You know, the year before that, we were kind of appointed. And not to describe myself, in the year before that, it was, you know, well contested. So to see 11 people here for the board really shows, as I mentioned earlier, the engagement in SMUSA and how effective we've been coming out of the pandemic and getting back to a new normal. One piece of advice, you probably already know what it is, but every vote counts. Because you don't want to be the person who loses by 1 vote. It sucks. Never. And you know, and it's a good story, really. I mean, losing by 1 vote, it humbled me. It really did humble me, but no, the opportunity to come back, and I learned a lot from that. So for those of you that aren't successful there next week, you know, it's not over. There's still lots of opportunity to be involved in SMUSA and come back. Really, there is. I'm a living testament of that, I guess. To wrap this up, because I'm long-winded, this event and in general the governance of SMUSA would be in a really bad spot without the guidance of Paul and Megan. All the support for the board, for SMUSA over the 15 years has truly been remarkable. It's been really, really something to admire, and it's been great having Paula as a mentor going through this process. I'd also like to acknowledge Mitch. As you guys might know, Paula had knee surgery, and the fact that she's standing right now is impressive. I'd still be a bit. And when Paul wasn't able to make it, Mitch came through, and as you guys would have known, led our candidates training. He's been a great resource for our CRO, DRO, and Nikita, and in general has just been a great friend of the organization. So with that in mind, we do have a couple small pieces, or a couple small tokens of appreciation. So I'd ask Isabel to come up, help me present these, and Mitch and Paul.
Let's go, AJ! Let's go, AJ for the win. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Let's go, Ajay. Ajay for Smusa, Smusa for Ajay.
Okay, thank you everyone who took the time to come out tonight to attend this forum, and also to everyone present on our live stream. I hope everyone had a great time listening to our candidates, our distinguished speaker, and especially Paula. For our viewers, later this video will be posted on SMUSA's official YouTube channel. And please do not forget to vote on 15th and 16th February, and to be present at our official elections announcement at the Gold launch on 16th at 7 p.m. Have a good night.
Go to the Ghost Brook. Totally. We're trying to market it right now.